Richard Landry dreamt of being on Moonshiners, get to know the award-winning Distiller for as long as Richard Landry can remember. His heart and soul have been steeped in the craft of distilling. The art of creating spirits runs deep in his veins, but it wasn't always clear that his journey would lead him to the moonshine stills, featured on one of the most popular shows on television, Moonshiners. Landry's path to the limelight has been a tale of hard work, dedication, and a little bit of luck. While many viewers of Moonshiners might recognize the show's stars as eccentric, offbeat individuals who craft high-proof spirits in the backwoods of Appalachia, Landry's story stands out in its own right. He's not just another moonshiner. He's an award-winning distiller with a passion for preserving traditional methods while pushing the boundaries of the craft. Through this article, we take a closer look at Landry's rise in the world of spirits, his dream of being on Moonshiners, and the principles that drive his success. From humble beginnings to crafting spirits born and raised in rural North Carolina, Richard Landry didn't grow up in the typical sense of a distilling family. While the state's rich history with moonshining is well known, Landry's upbringing didn't involve the traditional, clandestine stills hidden deep in the Appalachian hills. Instead, he was raised in an environment where craftsmanship, hard work, and a reverence for the land were paramount. "I didn't come from a long line of moonshiners," Landry admits with a grin. "But the idea of creating something with my hands and having it reflect the place I came from always appealed to me." In his teenage years, Landry became fascinated with the idea of distilling as a way of honoring the legacy of the craft while also embracing innovation. He wasn't interested in following in the footsteps of those who had gone before him purely out of tradition. Rather, he saw distilling as an opportunity to push the boundaries of flavor and process in a way that would give him the creative outlet he was craving. Landry started experimenting with distillation as a hobby, learning everything he could about the process, the history, and the types of spirits people had been producing for centuries. It wasn't long before his passion turned into a career. The early years. Struggling and perfecting the craft like most entrepreneurs, Landry's early years in the distillation world were marked by struggle and trial and error. He spent countless hours perfecting his craft, refining his recipes, and figuring out how to produce the highest quality spirits. Landry was determined to make his mark in a field that was both steeped in history and full of modern competition. It's not like I just woke up one day and decided I could make moonshine. It took years of trial and error, learning from mistakes, and understanding what makes a great product, Landry says. The thing about distilling is that you can always improve. There's always a new technique, a better way to refine your product. You just have to have the patience and persistence to see it through. Throughout these early years, Landry became a student of both modern and traditional distilling practices. He traveled across the United States and abroad, visiting distilleries, learning from master distillers, and studying everything from the grain-to-glass process to the subtleties of barrel aging. What set him apart, however, was his ability to blend these new techniques with the age-old methods that had made moonshine a beloved piece of American history. It wasn't long before Landry began to make a name for himself in the industry. His unique approach to distilling earned him recognition, and soon his products were winning awards. But there was one thing missing. Landry still had an itch that he couldn't quite scratch: the desire to appear on Moonshiners. A dream realized. Landing a spot on Moonshiners for many aspiring distillers, appearing on Moonshiners might seem like a far-fetched dream. After all, the show's stars are often portrayed as living life on the edge, working in clandestine stills, and pushing the limits of legality. But Landry's ambition wasn't to be just another part of the show's wild antics. He wanted to showcase his skill and knowledge in the hopes of gaining broader recognition. "I watched Moonshiners from the very first season," Landry recalls. It was this raw, real portrayal of a part of history that people didn't always understand. The show had a unique way of blending the historical aspects of moonshining with modern-day distilling. And I thought, one day, I want to be on that show. I want to be a part of that conversation. The opportunity came when the producers of Moonshiners reached out to Landry. Having heard about his reputation in the distilling world and his innovative approach to moonshine, they invited him to appear on the show. Landry, who had spent years honing his craft, this was his chance to bring his knowledge to a larger audience and, most importantly, to share his vision of what modern moonshine could be. The experience wasn't exactly what Landry had imagined, but in many ways, it was better. Appearing on Moonshiners gave him a platform to not only demonstrate his skills, but also educate viewers about the complexity of distillation and the artistry involved. Landry quickly proved himself to be more than just a moonshiner. He was a skilled distiller with a deep understanding of his craft, a passion for preserving tradition, and a vision for the future of the industry. I knew that being on the show meant I had to show more than just my skills as a distiller, Landry reflects. I had to show why I was different. Why what I was doing wasn't just about making alcohol. It was about pushing the craft forward, experimenting with new flavors, and using sustainable, local ingredients. Commitment to quality. While many people might associate moonshine with low-quality, high-proof alcohol, Landry takes a different approach. For him, moonshine is an art form, and the goal is to produce spirits that rival some of the finest commercial offerings on the market. I'm not just trying to make something that's strong and fast, Landry explains. I'm trying to make something that people can enjoy and appreciate for its complexity and quality. That's why I focus on small batches, sourcing the best local ingredients, and taking the time to do it right. Landry's dedication to quality extends to his commitment to sustainability. He's become known for his efforts to create a more eco-friendly distilling process by minimizing waste and finding ways to repurpose ingredients. In a world where many industries prioritize efficiency over environmental impact, Landry is a pioneer in combining craftsmanship with sustainability. I want to leave something behind that not only reflects my passion for distilling, but also my respect for the environment, Landry says. That's why I work with local farmers and producers, and it's why I focus on finding innovative ways to reduce waste in the distilling process. The legacy of Richard Landry today. Richard Landry stands at the forefront of the moonshine industry, a respected figure whose work is shaping the future of spirits. He's earned awards for his products, has a loyal following of fans and consumers, and is viewed as a leader in the distilling community. But despite all his success, he remains humble and focused on the journey ahead. The show, the awards, the recognition, all of that is great. But for me, it's always been about the craft, Landry reflects. I'm just honored to be part of an industry that has such deep roots and such a bright future. Landry's dream of being on Moonshiners wasn't just about fame or fortune. It was about sharing his passion with the world, showing that distillation is an art form, and demonstrating that the craft of moonshining can evolve while honoring its history. Through his hard work, creativity, and commitment to quality, Richard Landry has carved out a legacy that will inspire future generations of distillers. And while his appearance on Moonshiners was a dream realized, it was just the beginning of his journey. The road ahead is filled with new challenges, new innovations, and new opportunities to shape the world of spirits for years to come. For Landry, the future of distilling is bright, and it's a future he's eager to explore. Richard Landry's story begins much like any distiller's tale, a love for tradition, a passion for craft, and a dream to create something exceptional. But what sets Landry apart from the pack isn't just his skill with grains, sugar, and water. It's the vision that propelled him from the rolling hills of Louisiana to the spotlight of one of the most popular reality shows on television, Moonshiners. Landry's journey to becoming an award-winning distiller is a mix of dedication, skill, and a fair share of serendipitous moments that came together in ways that he could never have predicted. The beginning. A dream and a craft from an early age, Richard Landry had a fascination with the art of distilling. Growing up in the small rural town of Opelousas, Louisiana, where the culture of agriculture and craft traditions ran deep, Landry was no stranger to homemade spirits. His grandfather, an experienced moonshiner in the region, instilled in him a deep respect for the process of distilling, as well as the important role that local heritage played in the making of fine spirits. It wasn't long before Landry found himself experimenting with distilling techniques and trying his hand at making his own moonshine. For Richard, however, it wasn't just about making alcohol. It was about creating something that captured the essence of his family's history and the land around him. With roots steeped in Southern hospitality and agricultural excellence, Landry knew that the real art lay not just in creating a